What's up, real ones? Welcome to Let's View It. And I just want to let you guys know I talk too much. I'm just going to let you know right off the bat that I talk too much. So if you don't like that, go ahead and click off the video. In fact, here at Let's View It, we got great customer service. You can click off the video absolutely free and don't even have to tell me about it in the comments. That's right. I mean, you absolutely can. This is a free country. If you have a few extra spare minutes in your day and you would like to tell me that you couldn't finish watching my video because I talk too much, go for it. But I promise you, I guarantee you, I'm gonna make another video and probably talk too much. So you're wasting your time. Because in my next video, it's still gonna be unscripted. It's still gonna jump off topic from time to time. I'm still gonna say some personal stuff, some personal experiences, so you're gonna learn who I am, and I'm still gonna be a sarcastic little ass. If you want a cookie cutter copy and paste YouTube channel, they're out there. If you want some guy going, hey guys, check out these clips, and then they throw up the clips, go find it. There's plenty of it. But if you want your mind to get a massage and you actually want to hear something of some sort of thought, then shut up and watch the video. And I'm not talking to my real supporters. You guys can blab all you want and watch the video. Now, let's get on to the video. The topic of this video, you're gonna learn what the #1 woman's fantasy is. And I'm talking about in the boom boom room. I'm not talking about like marrying a rich guy with no prenup and then he instantly dies. I'm talking about boom boom room fantasies. You're gonna find out what the #1 fantasy is, statistically in women. And trust me, a lot of you are gonna be shocked. Maybe even disgusted. And then some of you are probably already freaks and like, I know what that fantasy is. Now, we're gonna be watching a YouTube channel called, what's it called? Let me see. Whatever Clips. Now, usually I'm not into these type of YouTube videos. You know the type, I guess they call them red pill, where you have a group of guys holding a podcast and they invite a group of girls that all look like they come from an OnlyFans reality show, like the Housewives of OnlyFans. But this particular channel actually does it a little bit more intellectually. The energy's different. It's a little bit more classy. Let's get to this clip and let's find out what the #1 boom boom room woman fantasy is. So you already know. Let's view it.
What do you think one of the most common, if not the most common, fantasy of women is?
I don't know.
I know.
I have no
What is it?
idea.
That's actually a really good argument, Andrew. That's
is
a
it?
fantastic
What do you think
argument.
it is?
Tell me.
Yeah, it's
Maybe you're referring to were
very
you talking
scary.
about guys that can't get
See?
sex and then they lash
She
out because of
knows.
violence?
scary.
They know.
Now, before we find out what it is, why don't you guys, if you want to play along, comment below and tell me what you think the #1 fantasy is amongst women. And if it's something bad, disguise the way you spell it or something, put it in code or something, so nobody gets in trouble with YouTube soft ass.
I
was
feel
just
like
more
I
just
feel
the
like
entitlement to women. I
everybody's
just said
diverting.
40%.
Nobody's answering the question.
Can I jump in?
What do you think the
This
most
turned
common
I feel bad.
fantasy of a woman is?
I don't know.
I know.
A British
It's
accent.
Yeah, definitely.
the
That,
word is.
Dominance.
But
Bingo.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
no, I mean, it's
No, it's much more
It's,
than that. I think it's much more than that.
they have grape fantasies.
Thought men
It's
have
very-
those more.
Not all. I don't. Like I don't. Like so.
Hang on, I'm just gonna go off the facts here. All right, we'll make sure that we all get it right. Number 10, Strangers in the Night.
Number 10 is Strangers in the Night. That's number 10. And we're going up from there. What's with women? Strangers in the Night? So all those damn Lifetime movies are like corn to women.
9, group sex. 7, laying you out on display for other people to see, meaning you're having in front of other people. 6, sexually ravaged. 5, or I'm sorry, 4, to leave it as a tip. And then 2, strap on, I'm going in. That's pretty brutal, right?
The fuck is it?
And then number 1.
Now, before he even gets to number 1, which I'm assuming probably most of you can probably guess what it is by now. Number 2 is using a strap-on. Women, why would that be a fantasy for you guys? Most of you guys hate men, but then you want to do men things. What is going on? What is going on? How is that number deuce? Ladies, you're gonna have all men scared of you once this gets out.
Is SA fantasies, number 1.
That doesn't mean
There was not a single thing I think you said that I fantasize about. I'm not gonna lie.
same.
Well, okay, while that could be true, I just want you to understand that there's all sorts of things which I'm sure would be attributed to the majority of men that perhaps could not be attributed to me. Here's a really good one. I have blue eyes. That's really, really, really rare in men, right? But that has nothing to do with how common brown eyes are, right? So even though I don't fit the mold, it doesn't really mean anything. I'm not saying anybody here has fantasies of being SA'd. I'm just saying that it's the number 1 fantasy.
See, psychologically, why did she respond like that? When he went through that list of fantasies, that was taken statistically, I don't know the number, but a group of women, these are the averages that came out. Why did she feel the need to say, I don't think one thing you said I fantasize about? Is it because she feels negative about those things? And even if she does feel negative about it, why does she feel the need to make sure that they know that she doesn't have those fantasies? They never said that she did. This is the problem with our thought processes. It's already understood to the men that not all women have these fantasies. That would be kind of weird if all women had the same top 10 fantasies. If we were sitting at a table having a discussion about absent fathers and someone says, you know, this percentage of absent fathers are black, my immediate response wouldn't be, but I'm not an absent father. Why would that be my response? Maybe I might add something to why statistically black fathers being absent is higher. Maybe I might clear up some things like that, but I wouldn't say I'm not an absent father. That's irrelevant.
Well, it is what it is, I
You
guess.
got something on this?
Yeah, this was a lot. For one, he just said that was a list of women's fantasies.
Top 10 reported by women, yeah.
Now, remember previously how I told you that women say something and do something else? Now, if you ask the common women, they just said that's their biggest fear. But you just did a poll that's their biggest fantasy. So you see how women can say one thing and think and do something totally different? So I just want to say that. 2, it's very alarming that women would rather take a chance with a wild animal who is extremely unpredictable over a man who can possibly not do none of those things. That there is a potential with a man. There is no potential with the bear. None. He's going to kill you or kill you later. So for women to pick the bear over a man who can potentially build a fort with you, make a campfire, and just totally assume he's going to hurt you, it's just very disturbing that women have these, or at least they say they have these fantasies that men will just do this. They just assume such negativity about men. It's just kind of disturbing to hear that. It's like, I would never take a chance with a wild, ravaging bear than a human being without having a chance to. I can't even talk to the bear. You can at least bargain with the man, maybe. You just discarded the common interest of talking over a savage beast. It's just crazy how women think today. No offense.
I think it's disturbing that we've been in positions where we feel that way.
Yeah.
Rather than.
Wait, can I? Go ahead. Do you have
Now,
What position has any woman been in where they're at the point where they're now suicidal, that they can't even make a logical choice, that they're willing to take a big beast that will murder them in seconds over a man? Even if you were SA'd before by a man, you still shouldn't choose to walk with a bear over a man in the woods, just off the simple fact that you can at least attempt to get away and defend yourself. If the man tried to do something, you can at least grab a rock and try to crack him in the head with it, and it might knock him out or kill him. If you crack a bear in the head with a rock, it's just gonna make him hungrier. It's just illogical. Why can't the women just say, okay, we were in our emotions, and that's illogical?
Andrew, I sent you text.
Yeah, that's what. But that sounds good. But according to the list, the number one fantasy of women is the thing that you all are saying that you hate.
That doesn't mean we want it to happen to us in real life.
I don't believe you do. I'm just saying. It's just it just shows the duplicitous, contradictory nature of women that I spoke of earlier.
But
if you
I
follow,
also have
I'm
to
gonna let y'all
argue with you,
retort.
though.
Let them
I'm
finish.
gonna let y'all retort. I'm not saying y'all feel this way. I'm just saying it's just proof of the contradictory nature of following what women say as according to what they do. Because if I feel like most women should feel how y'all feel, but according to his poll, the number one thing was the most appalling thing that they're saying out of their mouths, and it's just contradictory. Like when that movie Shades of Grey came out, women loved that.
A fantasy isn't a safe situation. It actually happening in an abusive way is not something you're saying
How is
okay
assault
to.
a fantasy?
And also, let me add to this, a lot of SA victims will fantasize
Over trauma.
their trauma. Even though it was a bad experience for them, they then fetishize their own trauma.
As a man, I would never fetishize somebody beating
And
me.
you're a
That's the
man.
man,
We are
yes,
women.
yeah.
I don't. Like I say, what y'all saying, what y'all do is two different things. It don't make sense. I don't see how you could fantasize about something that you put on that you deem is so negative. That
You don't
doesn't make any
understand,
sense
but
to
it's
me.
just
And
genuinely
there's
science.
men that's been
like it
essayed
is.
that do.
Is that even true? Is that even true? Do women that get raped, essayed, fantasize about being raped and essayed? I'm not saying do they become promiscuous or easy or don't value their body. I'm saying fantasize about being raped and essayed. I know a few women that have been raped and essayed, and I've never heard this ever. Never seen it, never heard it. Not saying that it doesn't happen, but they're making it seem like it's common. And like he said, as a man, he's not gonna fantasize about his trauma. But then she goes, well, because you're a man and we're women. But that was what he was saying, is that women say one thing and then do another. And then she just solidifies his point by saying, yeah, but you don't because you're a man. Now she didn't realize she just stepped into that because she's talking with her emotions.
Fantasize over.
No, they end up being.
Yes.
They end up being that. They turn all the way over. That's what they do.
I would also
can
like
go
to
both
ask, I
ways.
guess, what is the percentage of these, like this statistic that we got in from the poll? How many women, what country were they from, what age demographics were
Yeah,
they?
this is,
Like, there's just so many other
This
questions.
is
How many
centered
women?
around I'll tell you the answers to that. So this is centered around mostly the Western world. These polls were done between Australia, Western Europe, and the United States, Canada, things like this. And the way that they gathered the data was from dating sites, for the most part. They gathered them from dating sites. Women tend to be more honest in the background of those, and so do men. And that's how they can gather up different preferences. And also, what women commonly search for when they're looking for, corn, for instance. What they're searching for there, you can gather the data that way as well. And this is what we come up with. Now, men got all kinds of freaky shit too. Don't get me wrong, right? They got all kinds, like the thing that they one of their top searches, pretty gross, right? But so I understand the both sides thing, right? I'm not even necessarily saying. I've always thought that the thing about this that was so bothersome to me, in a different way, is that women most commonly say, well, if a man spawned in the forest, when they say I would choose him over the bear, he's going to protect me. Then I've always thought, well, that's a pretty assumed entitlement, right? It's pretty assumed entitlement that you just instantly assume any man in the forest has some obligation to protect you. Like, I would just be like, well, I'm spawned in with you, but I don't know you. Good luck. Hope you don't die. I'm getting out of this forest now. See you later. But it's always, that has always been the detail of the answer that has bothered me. I understand why. So here, I'll give you an example. let me give this question back the other way to Brian Atlas and to the gentleman who's there. Would you rather be spawned into the forest with a random bear or with a gay prisoner? Random gay prisoner. So there's no. It could possibly be that he has no intention, of course, of essaying you because it's random, right? But also is the chance that he could. Would you prefer to be spawned in with the bear or with the gay prisoner? Random gay prisoner, by the way.
Gay prisoner.
Gay prisoner.
Gay prisoner. I take the gay prisoner.
Was he gay
What do you
before
take?
he
You
went
take
to
the gay
prison?
I'm gonna take the human every time because I don't have to do nothing with you, but you're a human. You have arms and legs. You can help me pick some shit up. Like I can't do nothing with no bear.
100%.
Yeah, I think that seems reasonable to me. It's within the confines of reason. It's like, okay, but now they're in the same position you're in. So now they could easily also be overpowered by this person. This person, they even have more information. They know that this person likely has more volatility than the average person. And they are in the same kind of vulnerable position. But according to reason, they go, well, but the chances are still way better, even with a gay prisoner, than they would be with a bear. So this is how you're taking your position, putting it on them, but the answer is far different. And so you kind of wonder why that is. In fact, I would even go so far as to say this. Somebody said with the essay, the dignity aspect. That's terrible for women when they get essayed, absolutely. But think about it from a man's perspective. For a man's dignity, that's brutal as well. And so yet they're still willing to take the chance the other direction.
That's because women speak with emotion. It's just a fact. They speak with emotion. You get a woman upset, they're going to say things to try to hurt you. If you don't believe me, take any woman that says they will take the bear over the man, walk to the woods, have a random man there and a grizzly bear there, and say, which one do you want? Do you still think they're gonna choose the bear? Hell no. It's all talk, emotional talk.
So it makes you wonder why.
And
Makes you
really
wonder
quick,
why that
Andrew,
is.
Personal
I
preference.
think even granting if this gay prisoner is like 30% faster and stronger than you still take it.
You still take it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that you can continue with the conditionals to the point where it almost would seem more reasonable to take the bear. Most men would still take the idea of the gay prisoner because they're just looking at the chances of if a random gay prisoner spawned in with you, this person can at least be reasoned with, and a bear's going to eat your face, right?
Yeah, and I just felt, like I said, it's just real disturbing, this assumed negativity when it comes to men. Like even when he brought up the poll of the women, your first response was, well, where they from? It's like when it comes to these lists with women, all this nuance is required. But when it comes to men, it's just assumed that they're gonna do that. But you don't ask, well, what's his upbringing? What's his mentality like? Where is he from? No, those questions are not asked when it comes to men. When it comes to women, it's like, we need all this nuance. And it's just like, I feel like modern women live in this world bethin fear and fantasy.
I want
They
to
watch-
bring up something
Hold on,
about the
hold
poll
on, finish.
when you're done.
They're in this, even when it comes to stuff that women watch. Women like to watch a lot of, romantic films of these fantastical situations that never happen. And then on the contrary, they like to watch horror and all these crimes of when men are just doing these diabolical things to women. It's like if you're constantly feeding your mind fear and fantasy, you're not dealing with reality, which is in neither one of these worlds. And I just feel like you could just tell when you ask women certain questions that they just really think the worst of men. It's just embedded in y'all. I don't know what's going on today.
I think.
I'm-
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to go out on a limb.
Oh, bingo,
Feminism.
got it,
Feminism.
forgot.
I'm
yeah.
going to go out on a limb and assume that the ladies that are answering these polls when it comes to the essay, they're thinking about, okay, I'm fantasizing about someone who is dominant, who is handsome, who maybe it's, I don't know, someone wealthy that's
I
just
don't think
dominating
we're really
me
interested in the poll so
versus,
far. We're more interested
versus
in the
a random
conversation.
man.
Now close your eyes and picture this for a minute. Imagine a woman talking about her biggest fear being raped and essayed. And then a man comes along and says, yeah, but I bet if the person that raped you and essayed you was smart, handsome, tall, rich, charismatic, then you would love it. It would be like a fantasy to you. How do you think that woman will respond to that man? You already know that man will be the lowest, dirtiest, scummiest, misogynistic piece of crap, patriarchy, you know what I'm saying, type of man alive. If one of those men at this table right here said what she just said, all those women will lose their mind. But when she says the most stupidest thing you could ever think, they all stay silent. They all stay silent. Why is that? Why, if a man says it, would they lose their mind? But if a woman says it, they just sit there and take it. Is it not off the principle of what's being said? Don't those women just not like the idea that men think they don't care if they're graped, if they're handsome enough, rich enough, or charismatic enough? But if a woman says it, it's okay? Why is that? This just shows that women don't like men speaking negative about women, even if it's true, even if it's helpful. It's an unwritten rule to women that men cannot speak negative about women, period. And this was proof. Not one woman jumped up and said, "Girl, I don't want to be raped by no man." Not one. No woman should be fantasizing about that. That's kinda weird and probably a red flag. You know, rough stuff, that's completely different. But grape, fantasizing about someone taking from you what you don't want to give up, having a man force you to do an act that's against your will. That is fantasizing about grape and SA. That is different from rough stuff and SMM or Eminem or whatever it's called.
That's
But
coming and attacking you.
I respect that. But you're still just making an excuse because it's a woman instead of just dealing with what it is. Like,
I'm not making an excuse.
no, you are
I'm
because
making an
you
assumption.
added mad stuff to it. You added that she's rich and anybody.
Kind of like you've done earlier.
What did I add? Give me an example.
Like when we were watching the video and you were talking about it.
Give me an example. Because you said that I'm assuming that a woman who fantasizes about being assaulted is talking about a man who's handsome and talk. You don't want to be assaulted by somebody you're attracted to. So that doesn't make sense to me. Anybody that you appeal to, you don't want them to you. That doesn't make sense to me.
There
I don't
was
see how that
one
makes
question
sense.
that didn't get answered. How many women answered in total in the world? How many women answered that poll with that answer?
I'm assuming it was.
I don't know what the total of them are. I
Because
don't think it
that's-
matters. Hang on.
It
Yeah, I
does.
don't think it. Hang on. I'm trying to answer.
Okay, sorry.
So I'm not sure that that would matter. All you would need is to have a statistical enough sample size that it was statistically significant, and the studies that I'm reading say that their sample sizes are statistically significant.
Another thing, who is funding those studies?
Well, most of these are funded by women's clinics, though many of them I would have to look into the background. But most of the time, studies are funded by progressive institutions, not conservative ones. So I don't see how there would be a publishing bias against women exactly.
Because sometimes there occasionally is, depending on who puts on the study. But
Related to that, I have a quick question. She cited this like commonly perpetuated statistic in colleges, 1 in 4. Are you prepared to make the same sort of criticism over the
no, because
the
I've looked
methods?
into that number.
Oh, you've looked into that
I
one.
have.
Okay.
I actually have.
Yeah,
I'm
and
familiar.
Is it valid?
I think that it is very.
So 1 in 4
valid.
women have been like full blown essayed.
Yeah, I would say more than that. Of,
What do you think about the
of women in
DOJ?
my
What do you think
life.
about the like official like FBI and DOJ statistics
I
where
would
they
s-
actually like they're collecting actual crime data instead of polling random, like they're actually analyzing the crime statistics.
and here's the data point that backs up Brian. The data point is that when polled, college students who are male give significantly higher numbers of being SA'd than women do.
All I was trying to mention with the poll is that you said that it was gathered from dating apps. Many women are not on dating apps.
Sometimes.
I'm not. I've
Pew
never been on a
Research has
dating
done
app.
these. Many different people have done these. One such study that
What is she talking about? Many women are on dating apps. We know this. There's married women. Why would they be on dating apps? There are people that are together. Why would they be on dating apps? He's just saying he got this from people on dating apps. He's just saying that's the way, the tool that they use to gather the information. Of course, they can't ask every woman in the world what is their top 10 fantasy. She has to know this, right?
Look at National Institute of Health. This is from, these are government studies. Though they don't tell you some of the information that you're asking, and I would have to look into the undercurrent. And I think that that's fair, right, to ask who's conducting the studies and why. They do seem to be statistically significant. So hang on. A team of researchers based University of North Texas and Notre Dame studied 355 women. That's statistically significant. A part of the research involved participants being able to read our word fantasy scenario over headphones to investigate how aroused they became. In the study published, the academic journal of behavior participants were, the number of how many did was kind of staggering, right? So that's.
This is one of those cases where you don't ask a question unless you're ready for the answer. She thought it was going to be her gotcha moment. And now she's like, oh, look at her face. Looks defeated and mad.
Just one study, one aspect of this study, but there's other ways that this research is conducted. I can't give you all the details because I don't know them, but it does seem like it's a fairly firm fact that this is pretty common.
Also, the 1 in 4 study, it included things like, for example, catcalling. It included catcalling. It also included, were one of the parties, did they have more than one alcoholic beverage? So they counted consensual sex, but if even both of the parties had had more than 1 or 2 drinks, they counted that as SA. Do you think that that's SA if like...
If someone is, yeah,
No.
if someone is
Wait, absolutely?
intoxicated-
Who said absolutely?
I mean, if both parties are under the influence, is that what you're saying?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I guess they're both
If
SA
both
each other.
parties has had 2 beers, you said that's SA?
Yeah, I mean, because,
2 beers.
well, they still know what they're doing, don't they?
I would say it depends on how the beers affect.
Hold on, stop, hold on.
I guess I'm confused at the question.
So, a man has 2 beers, a woman has 2 beers.
Oh no.
They have sex. Is that SA?
Oh, no, I thought you meant just if they were intoxicated, that it doesn't count or something. That's what we
Wait,
we
what?
misunderstood. We misunderstood.
Yeah, this is.
It's
too woke. Like,
So that's where the video ends. But to continue on with the SA thing and what women in the law and sometimes work policies count as SA and harassment and things, when you start adding these stupid things like someone said my dress looked nice, and that's in the same category as SA, or someone said a dirty joke and I didn't like it, and they weren't even saying it to me, I just overheard it, and that's in the category of SA. When you have a couple of drinks and you do something that you regret later, and that's put in the category SA, all these women are doing is watering down what SA is. It makes it less important, or it makes it seem less serious. That's all it does. Anytime you start adding all these petty things into serious accusations, you just make it seem less serious. You make it harder for people that really get SA'd. So when they say they got SA'd, everyone else thinks, well, what happened? Did the guy say you were pretty? Did you hear a bad joke? Did you have a couple of drinks and sleep with someone you didn't want to? Instead of thinking about, oh, damn, that poor girl must have got raped or touched or something other than get annoyed. But now that you know the number 1 boom boom room fantasy, all I need you guys to do is comment below. Tell me what you think. Did you already know that was the number 1 fantasy? Is that your number 1 fantasy? How many of you fellas are going to run to your girl right now and demand she tell you her top 10 boom boom room fantasies? And then ask her the pinky promise. Swear to God, hope to die, stick 1,000 needles in your eye. And while your lady is sticking 1,000 needles in your eye, You know I'm gonna need you to hit that bell like the hunchback. Also click that hitchhiker button and sub ride with me. And I'll see you on the next trip. Day and night.
Keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real.
All my life.
Keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real.
Can't help
Keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real.